Dear students, today we will study a Sri Lankan short story, The Competition, written by Nirmali Hettiarachchi. The short story, The Competition, by Nirmali Hettiarachchi, is on the notion of social prestige, what many people yearn to gain in the society. This story can be analyzed through historical, sociological, and individual arenas. Historically, the character headman in the story reminds us the headmanship which was enforced by the foreign powers in the country to serve as mediators between the Europeans and the native Sri Lankans. This native headman system had been an integral part of the administration of the island in the past. These men involved in revenue collection, translation, and legal matters. Caste played an important role in this appointment. According to scholars, being a member of Govigama caste was an advantage to secure this position and succeed in promotion. However, this condition was challenged by the elite through English education, which was accompanied by rapid westernization and cash crop cultivation. These native headmen lived in Valauba, a feudal manor house, which has been the main residence of these leaders. Their social position was high, and the locals undoubtedly obeyed them. Through various literature texts, we can understand this situation. These leaders had dominated the political and social life of the country at the expense of other section of people whom they ruled. This headmanship, which hails from the above system, is criticized in the short story. The first letter of the word competition is capitalized in the story, which denotes the importance given to this struggle in the plot. The writer's invention on this phenomena is unique and evident. You can see all the birds, the bird competition in the story has been capitalized. The first letter of this word is capitalized in the story. The word indirectly reveals the attempts of two individuals for a common goal, which cannot be shared. The story clearly unfolds how one's gain results in others' loss. The headman's failure and the victory of the important personage indicate the above concept evidently. Second major character is a female teacher in a junior school from a Sri Lankan village. She has been portrayed as a beautiful woman who pleads with the headman on behalf of her children to participate in the competition. However, the entry is denied. She does not offer herself to the headman. Through educational opportunities, the image of a woman greatly changed in terms of gender roles. Women secured important positions in public organizations. This change was observed in 80s. The function of women in the changing economy of the country were crucial. Finally, the teacher offers herself to the politician who visits the events in the story. The teacher in the story persuades the dignitary to influence his judgments in her favor, which is not expected by the village headman. He is disappointed over the change and his helpless status to control his judgments. The title in the story is symbolic. How did the teacher win the dignitaries' hearts? How did the signatory secure the teacher in his vehicle? These are the implications of women's revolutionary persistence and roles of the changing Sri Lankan society. Suspense is a literary device which has been employed by the writer to create deliberate tension. While the writer releases information on important incidents, certain facts about it are withheld as the plot progresses. The writer uses suspense to create tension and curiosity. As the writer withholds certain information, these effects are created. Suspense in the story is created through a controlled release of information to readers, which raises many key questions in readers' minds. For example, according to the writer, the headman invites the teacher into his house. Though the nature of his invitation could be guessed by the audience, a sense of suspense is maintained as he has not revealed everything openly to the readers. The writer has presented is using textual clues. Though the writer has revealed the nature of the invitation through literal hints, the actual encounter has not been exposed. It's a gap given for the readers to imagine the rest. Further, it creates questions in audience minds. The villagers wish to be respected by others in the society. According to them, participating in the competition will bring them an honor and respect. The writer sarcastically presents the mortal nature of this fame as it is subjected to change by a number of external factors. The employment of the possessive adjective and subject pronoun instead of a noun or proper noun at the beginning of the story enhances anonymity. The headman in the story represents a public authority. The individuals in any governing body should be capable of taking wise decisions. When they fail to take timely decisions due to their adamant nature of listening to others, they fail to expose their leadership roles successfully, and they are often criticized and ridiculed in front of others. The headman in the story is a good example for the above lesson. His experience is a good example for others. Individualism of the important personage has been highlighted as it has been acknowledged by the representatives of younger generation in the story. The story reveals how the dignitary expresses his personal liberty, independence, self-reliance, resourcefulness, and self-direction by choosing the winner in the competition. He does not follow the conventional paths. His ways are exceptional, which was preferred by his clients, not by the chief organizer of the events. The conflict between a man and his society is presented. The writer exposes how the damned desires of a single man has been a contradiction to the expectation of his society. The story carries a number of religious imageries too. For example, Vesak has been a Buddhist religious festival which marks the birth, enlightenment, and death of Siddhartha Gautama, who is commonly known as Buddha. It is celebrated on the full moon day in May. This day has been the most sacred day to millions of Buddhists around the world. It is a custom of conducting Vesak Kudu competition to mark this festival in Sri Lanka. Various religious and public organizations ceremoniously organize it. People, irrespective of their age and backgrounds, participate enthusiastically in these competitions to showcase their creative and innovative Vesak lanterns. A panel of judges usually evaluates these exhibitions. Thus, the competition is associated with Sri Lankan culture and heritage. Cultural norms usually reflect in these displays. Sociological functions of religions are ensured through these activities. Religion as a social institution which socializes an individual plays an important role in one's life. However, the close analysis shows how the headman misleads its sociological function and its broader expectations. Younger generations are expected to obey and respect the elders in the society. It is often insisted through religious philosophy. The headman does not allow Tikura to decorate the lanterns with electric bulbs, which shows the headman's lack of tolerance and denial of acceptance for a new change. It can be interpreted as the inherited attitudes of this class too. This denial can be interpreted in line with generation gap. The story projects a conflict between these two generations. Perceptions of the headman in the story has been against the views of younger generation. But the interest of the teacher and the dignitary are not contradictory. Following the conventional way seems to be safe for the headman to maintain his power, authority, and dignity in the village. The headman's reactions in meeting the school mistress are ridiculous. He pretends to be a gentleman who is not disturbed by the beauty of the teacher initially. Though his affection is natural and biological, it is controlled by cultural, moral, and ethical aspects of his life. He did not show his affection openly in order to maintain his dignity in the society. A man in power should not express such feelings openly. It has been a cultural norm in Sri Lanka. The phrases generously curved body and ready smile reveal her beauty. This has been depicted using flashback technique in the story. The headman and the visiting dignitary are similar in the way they secretly appreciated the beauty of the teacher. However, according to the writer, the female teacher expressed her inviting look as she loved the dignitary only. His individualism has impressed her. The leadership roles and the abilities of the headman have been criticized by the writer. So tolerance and acceptance should be the parts of his personality. He could not exhibit them properly. His speech is another example for his failure and inappropriateness. The phrases little known and less meaningful are attributed to his capacity as a leader. Language used in the story enhances authenticity to the text. The expressions such as Mr. Headman Sir, Vesakudu competition, for names such as Podibanda and Tikura are typical expressions used in Sri Lankan context. These expressions correlate with Sri Lankan tradition, culture, and heritage. Further, these are examples where literature texts have added their value to materialize the notion and identity of Sri Lankan English over the time. Techniques used in the story. The writer has used flashback, simile. For example, the visiting dignitary refers to the teacher, compares the schoolmistress to a Vesak lantern. In addition to that, the writer has used an idiomatic phrase. The techniques used in the text add thematic value to the text. Further, the writer has used imagery. For example, the phrase buxom figure adds the visual quality to the incident. Through this, a large-breasted woman is pictured. The event where Vesak lanterns are displayed is visualized. In addition to that, the vehicle with black shutters denotes the class, privacy, and the security of the important person. Also, the writer pictures the action of the visitor All these references add visual quality to the text. They help the readers to visualize the incidents. The conversations between the schoolmistress and the dignitary expose affection, care, and willingness towards each other. Disappointments and hopelessness of general public have been portrayed through the character Tikra. Now, we will study the elements of a short story: plot, character, setting, point of view, and theme are the key elements of a short story. We will see how these elements are presented in the story. Plots consist of exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. You can list down the events of the story under each stage. Headman, schoolmistress, teacher, the important person, and the villagers are the characters of the story. Setting in literature refers to the time and the place. The places such as village, headman's house, garden, and school are the places where the story moves. Point of view. The story has been narrated in third person omniscient point of view. Even though the writer follows the character headman, the narrator is able to explore the thoughts and feelings of others too in the story. The narrator has been omniscient as he can perceive several characters' feelings thoughts, actions, and motivations in the story. The narrator is aware of the motives behind each actions of the characters. When we read the story, we can understand the feelings, thoughts, actions, and motivations of the characters clearly. The writer has penetrated into the minds of more than one character in the story to explore the events, to explore their psychological conditions. Themes include social prestige, competition, women in society, conflict between man and society, qualities of headship, portrayal of men, power and authority, and social class. Now we will study the stages of a plot. The first stage of a plot is exposition. At this stage, characters and settings are introduced. This stage gives meaning to the actions that take place in the story in future. You can identify this stage in your short story. Opening incident or inciting incident refers to the incidents through which the conflict starts. So, you can think of the inciting incidents in the story. The next stage of a plot is rising action. At this stage, the conflict develops, incidents become more complicated, which leads to the climax. The main character faces problems and obstacles in reaching his or her goal. Students are advised to identify the conflicts which are developed in the story. Next, climax. The conflict reaches a peak. At climax, it's a turning point and an exciting part of the story. It leads to a change in the course of events, and it is a crucial moment in the story. Falling action is the next stage of a plot. At this stage, the conflict is resolved. The immediate effects of a climax are presented at this stage of the story. Resolution is the final stage of the story. The story ends at this stage. So these are the stages of a plot. Students are advised to identify these stages in the story, in the short story, The Competition. Once you identify these stages in your story, you can discuss with your friends for further reference. Thank you.